Hello and welcome back to the Water Innovation Nation Celebration Virtual Summit. And if you have a water startup, or if you're thinking of creating a water startup, or if you work with water startups as an advisor, as an accelerator, as an investor, a funder, perhaps you're with a client that is the director of innovation for your organization and you're looking for innovative startups, you're in the right place. My name is Dr. Kat Schreier. I'm the founder of an organization called watercitizen.org. We support water entrepreneurs and professionals to be the leaders that they want to be and solve the water workforce crisis. Just a minor little detail there. But we are the hosts of the Water Innovation Nation Celebration Virtual Summit, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick overview of what you're going to see today. And today is, share my screen, today is Wednesday, August 28th for the live session. And if you're watching on replay, it's whatever day it is for you. But this is day 3. Sorry, let me fix my slide there. Day 3. So we're on the 3rd day of this amazing summit. And let me tell you a little bit about what the summit is about. So first of all, Water Innovation Nation Celebration Virtual Summit is a 2-week event, goes from Monday, August 26th to Friday, September 6th, with a 4-day break in the middle over Labor Day weekend. Here in the US, it's Labor Day weekend coming up. We've got 49 interviews, 7 per day, with 56 speakers. Some of them have more than one speaker. Across 7 days from Monday to Thursday in the first week, 26th, 29th, and then from Tuesday to Thursday in the second week. And then there's a live finale on the 6th of the last day. So what are you going to have? It includes 28 startup interviews with pitches. So if you are in any kind of position where you're looking for startups, you've got 28, over 24 startups, each one giving their full pitch in the middle of the interview. They're also going to tell you a bit about themselves, their backstory, why are they so passionate, how did they start this startup, really what drives them as a person, as a leader of that startup. You're going to hear their insights and their advice on, what are the things that need to change in order for us collectively to elevate the water profession. And as you can see, it's not just the startups, it is the full water startup community, which also includes reverse pitches from other members of the startup community. A reverse pitch is where you tell the startups what you can do for them, right? So we have several that are voice of the customer interviews from New York City, DC Water, Hampton Roads, Louisville, Bufo, which is a German chemical and paint company, Heritage Group, which has a lot of companies in the construction and landfill and other land use industries. You also have 2 associations, the Association of Metropolitan Water Agencies and the Water Reuse Association, which will represent a lot of folks that are dealing with water. We also have a sole series of what we call Show Me the Money interviews. These are top water investors, folks like Burnt Island, Cleveland Water Alliance, and or the Freshwater Innovation Fund. We have HG Ventures, so we've got corporate venturing as well, and federal SBIR grants. So these are the funders. You don't have to pay that money back, right? And then you have ecosystems of support. And that is the water-focused innovation hubs and accelerators and incubators and clusters, whatever you want to call them. There's advisors and analysts, people, podcast hosts who are in the business of talking to a lot of people, and they have some fantastic analysis of what's going on in the space. And then some startup service providers like Next Startup Law, that really focus on startups, right? So each day, as I mentioned, there's 49 interviews across 7 days. So each day we kind of sort of tried to group together at least the startups according to various themes. So I'm going to run through these very quickly. Number 1, tools for watershed management and stakeholder communications. That was on Monday. Innovations for water and wastewater utilities. These are kind of basic operations and maintenance kind of things that and communications that the utilities are dealing with. Then we've got green communities, community development, and environmental justice. That's going to be today. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. And then we've got water in the home and residential fixtures. This is a really important part of the water startup space as well. Taps and toilets and showers and all that. Okay, and then the second week. So week one, I forgot to mention this. Week one is kind of more of a water sector focus. This is where you're going to see more of the folks focused on water and wastewater utilities, as well as water in the home. Now, week two is where we get into various industries and the issues that they're dealing with in terms of water supply and water treatment, especially water and wastewater treatment. So day one, which would be Tuesday, the 3rd, so that's the day after Labor Day, is going to be industrial treatment, desal and reuse, disaster response. And then Wednesday of next week, we're getting into advanced treatment for PFAS. Yeah, PFAS is big in the news right now. These forever chemicals and other hard to treat waters. And by the way, we're going to be putting out a new category so you can find all the PFAS related presentations. There's more than fits in this one day. So keep that in mind. It's a very hot issue. It's, they've got 3 years, less than 3 years at this point for the water and wastewater utilities to find and implement whatever technology they're going to use for PFAS. Very hot issue. So, and then the last day of pitches and reverse pitches is going to be on Thursday, the 5th, which is kind of a hodgepodge. It includes metals monitoring, and that's really looking at mining and oil and gas and other extractive industries, more advanced treatment, water sustainability and consumer products, really interesting presentation there, and then hydropower. So it's a little bit of a hodgepodge of some of the things that didn't fit elsewhere. And then the grand finale, we're going to have a live interactive webinar, lots of discussion and opportunities for you to find out how you can get involved at a deeper level. And one of those ways is through Water Pitch. And this whole event is really, this whole virtual summit is really kind of a taste of Water Pitch. Nearly all of the speakers are people who either pitched or reverse pitched at this event called Water Pitch, the Water Startup Matching Extravaganza. We held 2 Water Pitch events last year. These are high energy, high engagement events that empower and showcase and connect water startups with investors and funders and clients and accelerators, right? It's a very startup centric event. If you're familiar with this industry, there's a lot of water innovation, water tech focused events, Aquatech, World Water Tech. This week in Stockholm, you've got World Water Week. There's going to be lots of people talking about their innovations, but the focus tends to be on the big dogs, right? The big vendors and tech firms and the big utilities, and then you might have what we call startups on the side, right? You get a little innovation row or something with a couple of little mini booths. Maybe there's a point in the program where they do the little Miss America thing where they kind of walk across the stage and they do their little pitch and then they walk off, right? And you don't know who you're going to hear from, right? It's just oh, let's hear from these little startups, right? Our goal, our event is all about the startups. Even the reverse pitch people who are there, they're there to say, here's the challenges we're dealing with as clients, or here's the things we're looking for as investors, and here's what we can do for you, and here's how you get in touch with us, and here's how you work with us, right? All about the startups. So our goal is for every startup to match with at least one potential investor, funder, client, or entrepreneur support program. We give them lots of support. They get an opportunity to pitch in a themed session. So just like we're doing with the summit, we're going to divide all the pitches together so that you've got like with like, right? It's not just random acts of pitching where you have no idea what the person's talking about until halfway through. It's like, oh, now I understand what you're doing. Okay, what did you say again, right? So it's all going to be sorted out. We have a lot of preparation support, virtual pitch prep and practice sessions, lots of pitch coaching before you get there. And then the day before, we actually have both the startups and the reverse pitch presenters do on-site presentation coaching, because we've been in these little Zoom boxes, right, for years, and people have forgotten how to talk to an audience, how to hold a room, right? And then the audience is also a big part of this. We have the audience voting after every single pitch and providing their feedback and contact information if they want more information. And then from that, we put best pitch awards in each section. So you're competing against the people who are doing similar things, right? And those best pitch awards actually come from like a startup law firm or a PR firm that focuses on startups or a social media review or a pitch coach, right? A deep dive pitch coach session, right? So, and of course, those reverse pitches, as I mentioned for the summit, very similar for the live event. We've got water and industrial clients. We've got venture capital, angel investors and corporate venturing. We've got federal funding and foundations, and we've got entrepreneur support programs. So, you know, in each case, they're presenting a little bit, but especially for the investors and the ESOs, there's a lot of opportunity for questions and really less questions and more discussion with the audience. So you can really get to know how things work there, right? So exhibit space, networking breaks, matching support, you know, even the most introverted startup founders, we will help you connect with the people that you want to connect with. So it's really a chance to get to know people. You're not just listening to a bunch of talking heads. And, you know, with that, we also, as you've seen for this summit, we do lots in the online promotions. And of course, an opportunity to be selected for next year's summit and all the promotions that go with that. Now, oh, and by the way, speaking of water pitch, in getting ready for the summit, I haven't quite yet finished the website. So that's going to open this weekend so people can start registering for the 2024-2025 events. One is in Cincinnati. That's where we started with the EPA labs. And so we've got a licensing workshop the day after that event on the 8th. Of November. So and then then on February 12th here in Washington DC, we're going to be at DC Water and their HQO, fantastic facility, conference center. And then the next day on the 13th, we're going to have a congressional briefing. So we're working with some of our startups on figuring out how can they best represent themselves and the startup community. Okay, so let's get back to the summit. How to get the most out of this virtual summit. First of all, scheduled broadcast time, the title area is going to turn into a video, right? So if you've been going on the screens now for the talks, it just has the title and it'll refresh and you'll see a video pop up. You have to hit play for it to begin. That next to the screen, you'll see a little chat screen. You can see those little chats there. Please do chat. It really helps. You know, these are pre-recorded videos, but in many cases, the speakers are in the chat and they're watching. And if they don't see you chatting, they're going to get really nervous. So please add some questions and comments. Otherwise, they're like, oh my God, nobody's watching. So please do chat in this chat screen. And below the screen, you can also see a talk summary and contact information. By the way, you are able to scroll your slider back and forth on the talk if you need to jump ahead to just watch the pitch and then come back later. You do, with the general admission free registration, you get up to 24 hours replay. Now with the VIP, you also get up to 6 months of unlimited replay, because we know that, you know, 49 people, that's a lot of stuff to cover. You're also going to get a contact list of all the speakers, transcripts, and a discount on coming to Water Pitch. And of course, we would love for you to come join us at Water Pitch. Okay, I have 4 minutes before the next speaker starts. So let's get to today's, whoops, this is the wrong one. All right, so today is about environmental justice, and well, I'll fix that later. But today, as you saw earlier, it's about green communities and green communities, what do I call it? Community development. And sorry about this, folks. So here we go. Green communities, community development, and environmental justice. So in these cases, the impact of these innovations on the community is as important as the technology itself, right? So we're going to kick off with our voice of the customer. One of my favorite people, Kimberly Reed, Chief Innovation Officer for Louisville Metropolitan Municipal Sewer Sanitation District, MSD. Louisville MSD. Kimberly Reed is their director, chief innovation officer. And one of the things that we've done throughout this event is we're really looking for those people who are in charge of innovation for the various utilities. So why water utilities need support with odor and other basic operations. I think this is really cool because so many startups, they come out of labs and they've got like this super duper advanced, like DARPA, ARPA-E kind of stuff, like next level stuff for the nastiest of treatment stuff. And in many cases, what the needs are of the water and wastewater utilities is how to do things better, safer, cheaper, more accurate within their basic operations, right? So fantastic presentation there. And then at 10:30, we're also going to hear from a local angel group. So, we've already heard from people like Burnt Island Ventures and Freshwater Innovation Fund. They have a much broader scope. This is Queen City Angels, which was created Queen City. That's Cincinnati. That's where we're going to be in November. And so this is Scott Jacobs runs that. And, how do they look at the regional needs? And of course, one of the things that we see throughout the startup space is a lot of these angel groups or accelerators and incubators during COVID, they started doing things online. So they started attracting a lot more people from just all over the place. So how to go beyond funding to help investors, entrepreneurs to succeed. So our keynote, whoops, this is the wrong one. Sorry about that, folks. Our keynote is Paul Gagliardo. Let's see if I can insert Paulie in here real quick. So Paul Gagliardo is an amazing guy, right? He used to be the head. I'm going to just tell you about him. Here we go. He used to be the head of the innovation program, the in-house innovation program for American Water, which is the largest private water company in the U.S. Many utilities throughout the U.S. are actually part of American Water, Virginia American Water, New Jersey American Water, et cetera. And he, since his retirement, he's down in San Diego and he knows all these people in the startup space, and he put together this amazing podcast called The Water Entrepreneur. So, you heard yesterday from Antoine Walter about his podcast, Don't Waste Water. And he's a relatively young guy who's just so fascinated with all this innovation stuff. And he goes to all these conferences for work, and then he does these podcasts. But Paul comes from a different perspective because he's been working in the space for decades. He's an old friend of mine, and you're going to hear me calling him Paulie, and apparently me and his sister are the only ones allowed to call him Paulie. So don't make that mistake if you reach out to him. His name is Paul. But we have a good time on this interview and just fascinating perspectives from Paul. So after that, take a little break. And then please do come back. And again, yes, here's the daily theme: green communities, community development, environmental justice. So we're going to kick off the afternoon with Nicole Whalen, founder and CEO of Green Compass. And she has got both a science and an economics background. She's doing some fascinating things with stormwater credits and working with landowners and buildings and creating green infrastructure and using climate startup financing. She's actually raising money right now and has a way that you can, for very little money, you can help support that capital raise, because for a lot of these startups, it just doesn't fit with the venture capitalist model, right? And so that is very creative what she's doing there, both in terms of the work they do and in terms of how she's raising money. Second is Jordan Taylor, amazing guy with Synergy Grid, right? He is bridging the gap for eco-efficiency and community empowerment and environmental justice, especially working in communities of color that often have very inefficient buildings or unhealthy buildings, and making it healthier, making it more efficient. Fantastic work that he's doing. Chaiwe is actually coming to us from Africa, and I'm going to blank on which country. Oh my God, she's going to kill me. So she's working on community development through these water innovations, working with biochar-based materials to filter stormwater and wastewater in Africa, and trying to bring that approach to other communities, including underserved communities here in the United States. And finally, also not the right one. Finally, we have Joseph Blackman. He is absolutely fantastic. He actually came out of selling trucks to cities, right? And then so his company is called Vitendo Training Solutions. And as he was selling, these highly specialized trucks, right? As he's selling these trucks, he's also, and I'll just go ahead and put in his podcast there so you can see it. He's also doing training. So he started developing this very specialized video-based real-time, just-in-time training, like with a QR code on the truck dashboard kind of thing, right? So that people, if they need to know how to use the equipment, it's not just the training you get right when you buy the equipment, and then they're using it and they can't remember, and suddenly things falling apart, right? So it's real-time training for public utilities. And he also has the Public Works podcast. Absolutely fascinating guy. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, because I know, and by the way, if we're a little over the a little over 9:30, so if you get to that site, you can start the video, you can move the thing back, and you'll be able to start from the beginning. But thank you so much for watching, and I will be more prepared for tomorrow morning's presentation, I promise. Yeah, definitely go check out all these amazing presentations today, and we will follow up with you later in the day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.